Merrimito. It's getting to the end of the Imbolc time of the frost. The last frosts are over and we're just having a nice rainy spring day and my ducks are loving it. And we're going to do a flip through. So there's 3 books knit like a Latvian by Leva Ozolina. And basically I think they're good books to have as a staple. Also, if you're new to knitting mittens, gloves or socks, I think they're worth getting. These are 3 books I've been eyeing on for the past couple of years. I basically took out a really small loan and I'll pay it off by October this year. And I just got a whole lot of things that I've always wanted to get, that I've been scrounging for. And that way I just get it all at the same time and get the best price because I can just pay for it outright. And anyway, I think that's how I'm going to go about with purchases from now on is, I will get a small loan, pay it off quickly, have a respite, and then do the same thing and basically get the best price of things. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. The reason why I like all 3 is, Knit Like a Latvian Mittens has a basic mitten recipe. Which you learn, all the techniques and everything are included, and that way you can, all the mittens in here, you can then just basically, you're just changing the colour work, the colour stranding. In the Knit Like a Latvian socks, there's a basic sock recipe, same thing. Once you have that basic sock recipe, doing a heel, all that sort of thing, then you can really get into socks. Knit Like a Latvian accessories, this one has a basic glove recipe, and so same thing. Once you've done a basic glove, then you can do anything with that. So for today we're going to flip through the Knit Like a Latvian mittens, traditional Latvian mittens. What am I going to say? Okay, so in regards to Garn, she does use a 2-ply Garn for all the projects in this book. Now, I tend to acrylic everything, and I tend to use a DK acrylic, which is an 8-ply. To use a 2-ply, I'm going to need a lot finer Garn, but I don't know, we'll see. I'll have a look. I might even just use the DK and make them really tight. I'm not quite sure. When I do any of these recipes, I will share and let you know what I've done and how I've gone about it. I'm not adverse to wool. I'm a vegan. As long as sheep are treated humanely and are cared for and they don't get mused, i.e. their tails cut off. Excruciating that when people do that. Usually they do it with no anesthetic. And sometimes they bleed out to death. It's disgusting. So I'm very thing on, if I'm going to get wool, I try and source sheep that are actually cared for. They're not shorn all year round. They're allowed to have a winter coat, all that sort of thing. Sheep do need to be shorn. They get really sick if they are not shorn. I've seen some terrible things with sheep when their wool just gets overgrown, matted, and it's just not a good thing. So anyway, that's my stance on that. Bit of a diversion, but I thought it might put things in perspective. And that said, I do believe in the Northern Hemisphere, further up north, there's a lot more smaller garn suppliers who actually are very hands-on family businesses that actually really do care about their sheep. They don't treat sheep like some of these big commercial companies that sell garn. So it's worth looking around. I really would like to see more folks out here in Australia who do that with their sheep also, who treat them with respect and dignity and supply to the vegan market. There's some vegans out there who will be like, oh, I'm not going to use it because it's from an animal. It's like, okay. For me, I don't consume honey. I didn't mean this to be a vegan rant, but I'll just explain myself. I don't eat honey. It's beef vomit, okay? However, beekeeping sometimes is needed because there's different species of bees and they need to be preserved. And unfortunately, the way humans have spread all over into the countryside without a care for the natural world, and they're trying to turn even the country into the city, there's a lot of critters that are suffering. So they really do need help. So there's a nuance, you got to avoid being all this one way or the other way. I think that's how they capture people, those who want people in conflict all the time with each other, is they get people into these groups. So, so the same sort of thing will fall. I personally don't like it too much because it's itchy. Some people, they don't feel it. It's like, not itchy. I'm like, nah, that's too itchy. So I prefer the acrylic, which is not really the best for the environment either. But you know what I mean? So there's nuances. I'll do a big vlog, I think, one day, or a video on my thoughts, going deeper into wool, ethical sourcing and all that sort of thing. I think I need to do that. Yes, I do. Okay, so back to this book. I have put jumps to chapters, so if you don't want to hear me waffle, jump to the start of the book. Okay, sorry about that. And anyway, let's go without further ado. Okay, so in this book as well, we have Knit Like a Latvian. There's 50 patterns. The 50 patterns includes the basic mitten recipe at the back. There's techniques included. It also has gloves, fingerless gloves and wrist warmers. The wrist warmers are basically cuffs. I think they're fantastic because cuffs basically, once you do a cuff, you've got the basic start of a mitten down packed, and they're quicker and easier to get through, small amount of work for colour stranding. The other thing I really love about the Latvian style of doing little garments like this is that the symbols. So you see all these pretty little flower ornate patterns, they're all symbols, they mean something. So I mean, this is the sign of Mara, that's the sign of Got, this is the sign of the star, this is the I can never say this right, the morning star, or Os Eklis, this one here, and this one you see quite a bit. Is there any? There's this. See, there's one there. There's a morning star. They all mean something. The sign of the sun, the cross of Mara, the serpent. One of my favourite little pictograms throughout things, and this means something to those of us of European ancestry. This is our culture. The thing is, we have so many different tribes within our blood pool, because we all come from the same ethnic root. It doesn't matter as the languages and the cultures change within our European family, we still have these underlying threads that we can relate to and interchange. So, European, or we do tend to get on well with each other. We have to. We're so close to each other, but it's unfortunate when we have conflict with each other, to be honest with you. So we have tools and materials. So yeah, she's got a natural 2-ply wool is recommended. That's what's usually used in Latvian mittens. That's it there. But I don't know. I'm going to have a bit of a hunt to see what I can see that's 2-ply, whether I go acrylic or find a wool here that I can get. I might even have to get it from New Zealand. That's ethically sourced. The sheep aren't used, that sort of thing. I might end up having to order it from New Zealand and have it shipped here. If I have to do that, I'll do that. How to use this book, reading charts. I'm not going to show the actual recipe instructions, of course, but I will show the finished result. So this one here is the winter Sun Mittens. And the other thing too, a pair of mittens, you're looking at 75 grams total of garn, including, that's 50 grams of white and 25 grams of grey. So you don't really bust through a lot of garn with a pattern, which is one of the reasons why mittens have been one of those things given to gifts quite often up in the Northern Hemisphere, culturally. The winter sun fingerless gloves, so it's the same pattern, the colour's been reversed, and it's done in a fingerless glove. Once you've got a fingerless glove down packed, you can then progress to the more tricky gloves with the fingers on them. This is the Morning Star Mittens. So that symbol there literally means morning star. Morning Star wrist warmers. So they're just like little cuffs you can put over the sleeves of your jumper or flannel. I usually wear flannel shirts because, you know, animals and plants is what I tend to have to deal with on a daily throughout the day. But these are pretty cool too because you can actually cinch them up and they help keep your sleeves from rolling down. Winter holiday mittens, and just going back on those on those wristers, that's like 35 grams of garn. That's like 25 grams of black and 10 grams of white. It's nothing really. They make perfect little gifts, you know, especially if you're not sure how someone's going to receive your knitted project that's taking you hours to do. It's nice to start with something like that. Yeah, for obvious reasons. Winter holiday mittens, winter holiday fingerless gloves, and you know, there is actually a shaping of a thumb here. They are different in construction to the mitten. The mittens have a seaming down the side as well, so they are different. She's also using dpns, double point needles, throughout. And I do believe, let me just get back here. Oh, sorry guys, just move that. Let me have a look. 5 double pointed metal needles are recommended, 1.5 millimeters to 2 millimeters international metric in 20 centimeters length. Wooden or bamboo needles are not recommended as small sizes are too fragile and can easily snap. The magic loop technique is not recommended either because the mitten patterns are specially designed for knitting with 5 double pointed needles and would therefore be almost impossible to follow using the magic loop technique. So anyway, I do have, when it comes to the fingerless gloves and the cuffs, I do think a fixed circular needle will be good. I've got really small Addi needles from Germany, or Addi. I don't have a complete sizing set. I think I've got 3.75 and 2.5s. The 2.5s could work with this. However, I've got, coming from Germany and Knit Pro in Germany, I've got a really small fixed Knit Pro set that I can't wait to get. The sizes start from 2 millimeters metric, international metric, to 6 millimeters, and they are 25 centimeters total in length, including the needles, so they're quite short. Be perfect for this. However, with the mittens, I do think, like she said here, you're probably going to use a double pointeds. We'll see. As when I start doing some of these projects, I will share. I've got a big backlog at the moment of stuff I need to do or want to do. Windmill mittens, because you can see what I mean with the edging here. And you see how this is literally a cuff. You can turn that into a cuff. You can just make a cuff. And here is windmill fingerless gloves. And like I said, if you were just to stop at that point, you would have the cuffs. I think cuffs are a really nice way to hygge up a jumper or a skivvy that you're wearing as well. These are grey net mittens, and yeah, it's the Ing Runier symbol as well. These are probably one of the first ones I want to do in this book, to be honest with you. I've got a very special relationship with that rune. And Freya, Lucky Scales mittens. So, you know, having something that I've spent a lot of time working on like that is down my alley. Little Hearts mittens. I love the denim sort of look with the little tiny hearts. You see it's a little heart. It's just the one stitch of red in that dark grey. Little Hearts Wrist Warmers. Little Hearts Fingerless Gloves, and that's on the front cover there. It's funny how just reversing the white and the grey gives you a total different look with your colourways as well. What was I talking about? Yeah, it's little heart wristers. There's also a fringed cuff on this at the end of this book when we get into techniques. She does show you how to do these different finishes, so you can add it to anything really. Weekday mittens. Weekday fingerless gloves. Net Mittens. So this is a goddess symbol, so that's what that is there. Mara fingerless gloves. This little braid here is called a Latvian braid, and there, I love that finish. It is actually, the technique is shown in depth at the end of this book. Grey acorn mittens. Grey acorns fingerless gloves, different colourway. Little dots mittens. That sounded weird to say. Little dots mittens because there's two S's. Little dots fingerless gloves. I have done a write-up of the images of the finished projects here and posted it on my blog. My blog is no way up to date. I have not attended to it for like literally a year, all of them. So I'll link anyway this current post, and just forgive the rest. It's not up to date, and I do endeavour to update all my blogs. White and Wise mittens, and that's the serpent symbol. So with the European cultures, ancient cultures, we associate serpents, snakes and adders with wisdom. It's funny how later on we had this foreign cult come into our lands and start demonizing the snakes and being wise. Why would you advocate for your people to be stupid? I mean, that's when you take away wisdom and self, what's that? When you think for yourself, automation. So self-automation. Then what do you have? You just have a hive of mindless numpties. You know what I mean? Just following whatever they're told to do. White and Wise fingerless gloves, a little serpent symbol again. Yeah, I get really suspicious of anyone that starts demonizing snakes or serpents, especially when it comes to European culture, because I straight away start thinking they're basically some sort of incel or, just anti-European, anti-culture and roots, and yeah, I'm never going to see eye to eye with them. Snowball mittens. Snowball fingerless gloves. Crossroads Mittens. I love these ones. Orange Sun Mittens. I just love that colour. I can just see myself wearing those, pushing my ducky in the pram through the parks we've got here. Snowflower mittens. Snowflower fingerless gloves. Autumn leaves mittens. And I love these. These are festive mittens. I love the colour combinations. I love the fringing. These are another pair I definitely want to do. So those Inga mittens, these festives, and the orange Sun mittens are definitely ones I want to do. Starting off with the cuffs or the festive wrist warmers. Isn't that just sweetie? I love these two Blue Star mittens. I love the colour combination. The blue with the orange, the bright orange, and the green. And these are the same but in wristers. So these are Blue Star wrist warmers. And she's using bamboo. Let's I'm presuming she's making something else and not these items. Midnight Forest mittens. I do like these as well. That's another one I've got on my list I want to do. I know I've got so many projects I'm already doing, but what do you do? I just roll with it these days. It's just me. I have lots of feathers in my house and garn and projects. That's okay. Could be worse things. I like this colour combination too. These are Bright Lights mittens, pink Crocus mittens, pink Crocus fingerless gloves, Azalea mittens, Azalea fingerless gloves, there's not a lot of light today because of the clouds that we've got at the moment, but it's all good. Purple Roses mittens. I have the light on in the house. This is how dark it is. Purple Roses fingerless gloves. And I love these. These are the Flower Garden mittens. I love the bright colours up on the black background, and I love the little purple on the edge as well, on the cuff. Cranberries mittens. Red Roses mittens. The paper does have a gloss to it, so sorry. But it's good quality paper. Red Roses mitten, wrist warmers, sorry. So that's just nice over a skivvy. I like that. Oh, I think the neighbours just arrived next door. Sorry if there's going to be banging. Yeah. Why do people slam their cars? And I don't understand. Poppy Field mittens. Christmas Star mittens. Just 1 second. Oh, hang on a second. No, hang on. I was going to do something, but it's just going to have to wait. There we go. I have a fish here in hospice at the moment, so I'm sort of keeping an eye on him. Poor baby. He's got a bloaty belly, so we're treating him for that. Poor goldfish. He doesn't have the best form though. Sometimes when they're bred and they have a really bad form, it's sometimes better to euthanize them as they're little. Don't let them grow because they're going to suffer later on. You know, it's kind of one of those things with fish keeping. You know, no one likes animals suffering. I don't. I can't handle animals suffering. Christmas Stars, wrist warmers. You know, what's the point of keeping something or someone alive when they're not living? You know what I mean? It's too hard. It's too hard to witness, watch, and they're suffering. Christmas flower mittens. Listen to me waffle on about that as I'm talking about something so pretty. Looking at something so pretty. And then we're at the techniques. So with the techniques, I try and get myself sorted. It's such a big book. It's kind of a little bit unco on my little coffee table here. We have the basic mitten recipe, symbols in the instructions, which are shown up in the graphs, the colour graphs. How to do your cast on with the dpns, and then you have a working needle. That's how dpns work. Doing the cuff, the body, marking the thumb, finishing the body, decreasing the thumb decrease, and then you have fingerless gloves, wrist warmers, cuff techniques, including the notches. So little bumpy little notches there, almost like a short version of picot when you crochet, or doing a fringe like in these ones in the Festive mittens, and then the Latvian braid that we looked at earlier. And that's the Mara mittens, the goddess mittens, and then basic knitting techniques. Now, I was outside when I first looked at these, and I wasn't impressed how the glue came away at the back of the spine there. I am going to get some glue and glue that myself. The others are fine. It was just this one for some reason, which I wasn't impressed with. But I mean, still, I think it cost me $30. I ended up getting it with Amazon because it was the cheapest with Amazon, especially because I got all three. But anyway, that is Knit Like a Latvian. Hope you like that. And I am drinking peppermint and chamomile in my recent acquisition of a hand painted bee mug. I think that cute as. I'm just so looking forward to bees, sunflowers, flowers, more herbs, and just wonderful. So blessed be Mary Part. I'll add a link to my blog write-up of this book. Of course, the instructions for the patterns won't be there. They're just the images. If you want to like save images into a file, it's just one that you want to do. There's so many places you can get these books from. They're worth getting. I would get all three if you've always, especially if you've always wanted to do any of these accessories, mittens, socks, gloves. I think, you know, it's worth getting, having it there, and then getting the basic done. You can make your own colorway patterns too later on. I definitely intend to do that. I was going to mention something else, and my mind has sort of gone with me. I can't remember what I was going to mention. It was in regards to this book. I can't seem to remember. Oh, I nearly had it and then I lost that thought. That's okay. It's alright. Anyway, link to the blog write-up in the post. I'll timestamp everything, so if you want to avoid my waffling at the beginning of the book, of the vlog, you can do so. I do waffle. I nearly remembered what I was going to say. Now I've forgotten. I'll just put it in the next recording. So we will next do Knit Like a Latvian accessories. I might even do them all this weekend. I see how I go. I mean, I don't want to bombard people with 3 different vlogs in 2 days. Like, you know, I don't want people to be overwhelmed with things to watch, you know. Anyway, blessed be and Mary Part. Have a wonderful autumn up in the northern hemisphere, and if you're in the southern hemisphere like me, I hope you're having a nice Imbolc tide and spring, and our vernal equinox will be in September, 1st of September. So I think we're all looking forward to that, especially in Ballarat, because the temperatures here are just a little bit colder than everywhere else in Melbourne. Anyway, blessed be and Mary Part.